UFC 323. What a stat card this is. What a stat card. I think that this is a great way to end the year. And I'm honestly surprised that, and because of that, I'm surprised that our man Dana White, the big boss, didn't show up for the press conference. This is arguably the most stat card of the year. I think this is the most stat card of the year. And it's the last card of the year, last pay-per-view at least, and Dana didn't show up to the presser. Man, I just don't think that man cares about the sport anymore. Anyways, let's get to the predictions. Muhammad Naimov versus Marianne Santos. Muhammad Naimov, he's alright, man, I guess, but dude, that Nathaniel Wood fight, didn't like that for him, man. I didn't like that for him. I know that was 2 years ago, but I'm bringing that up because he beat him, but I don't know, it was close, and there's some moments Nathaniel had. Now what type of moments? I forget. I was just thinking to myself about that fight when thinking about this pick. But now I can't remember what it was that I was gonna say about the Nathaniel Wood fight. All I know is that it's a reason why I'm picking Marion. Oh. The point is that although Muhammad Naimov's resume looks his unranked resume looks fine, looks good for an kind of up and coming unranked guy, because Nathaniel Wood and even Bogdan Grant's not bad, and Jamie Malarkey. Sorry. And the Nathaniel Wood fight was strange. And Nathaniel Wood is inconsistent in how good he is, in my opinion. He's losing on Muhammad Naimov, and then he's robbing Jose Delgado. Anyways, Marianne Santos. Hey, I know Sadiq Yusuf kind of washed. But hey, that's better than any of Naimov's wins. Plus, Marianne Santos, he's 16-1. He's undefeated in the UFC. Knocked out Conor O'Fley. Beat Francis Marshall, Sadiq Yusuf. Had some decent fights, decent performances. I don't remember too much about his fights. I've got a shit memory, but I know that he's decent and that he's a younger guy. He's 25. Getting better. I like that. 16-1 at 25. That looks really good. You can also use some MMA math as well. Naimov took O'Fley to a decision. Santos, he KO'd O'Fley. So I think the safe pick here is Marianne Santos by decision. I was thinking about KO, but then I would maybe have to rewatch a fight. But I don't want to rewatch a Marianne Santos fight. I've got other stuff to do. I got videos to make. I got time to rewatch a Marianne fucking Santos fight. Anyways, Marianne Santos by decision. Safe pick, I guess. I don't want to be surprised in Naimov one. Neither of them are that bad, but I think Marianne Santos is a good prospect, man, or decent prospect at the very least. I think we're gonna find out if he's a decent prospect or if he's a good prospect. It's gonna be that fight. We're gonna find out if this guy's worth thinking about. In context of good UFC fighters. So I'm kind of looking forward to it for that reason. This might be one of those times where after the fight I'm we got a prospect on our hands now, folks, or maybe not. We'll find out. Mansour Abdulmalik versus Antonio Tricoli. I tell you who isn't a prospect. Antonio fucking Tricoli. This guy sucks. This guy sucks. Also, the name Antonio Tricoli, that's not the name of a man that's going to have success in the UFC. Antonio Tricoli. Come on. That name just sounds... It's like when you ask ChatGPT, hey, give me cool name ideas for a character, right? and then it gives you something like Antonio Tricoli. That's what it is. This guy got knocked out by Shera. I mean, it's not that bad of a look, but like, I mean, it's not a bad look to lose to Shera, but to get knocked out by Shera, it is kind of a bad look. But that on its own isn't that bad. But getting standing gillied by Tresean Gore in round 1, that is a bad look. Tresean Gore's kind of shit. And Mansur, he's good. Hey, and I know it's a draw to Cody Brundage. He beat him. But there was there was an illegal thing. Oh, what the fuck was it? Headbutt? Right? Yeah, because it was originally like a headbutt, and then they stopped it, and then like, okay, we're just going to go to the scorecards since we're already in round 3. Late in round 3. So they just, scored it and gave the fight to Mansur. And then, like a day after or whatever, they overturned it to a draw. I mean, because there was like an accidental illegal headbutt thing. I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's not like he literally had a straight up draw with him. So it's not like, oh, he went to a draw with Cody Brundage, so were you calling shit? Just need to clarify that. He beat the late and great Nick Klein. Nick Klein has gotten KO'd twice this year. And Nick Klein's not bad, man. He's just unlucky. Wait, no, he is kind of bad, because didn't he just lose to fucking Andre Poli? I'm pretty sure that's his name. Okay, so Nick Klein's not great. Man, because this is... Man, I always forget how bad, like, the bottom of the barrel middleweight is. Like, it's bad down there. And for that reason, I don't think Mansur's at the bottom of the barrel. I don't. He's beating the bottom of the barrel, and Antonio's part of the bottom of the barrel, and I'm very confident he's going to be able to finish him. And I think he's going to be able to sub him. I think he's going to be able to sub him. He's undefeated finisher. We've seen KOs. Maybe we'll see a sub. I mean, he just got subbed by someone that's shit, so maybe Mansur will also find an early sub. Or he'll be able to craft his way into a round 2 sub. Either way, easy finish for Mansur Abdulmalik. Moving on, we have Iwo Borowski. We have Iwo Mazowski. We got Iwo Mazowski versus Ibo Aslan. The Iwo, man. Iwo was one of these guys in the most recent Dana White Contender Series. And if you watch that, you know that, it was straight fireworks this year on Contender Series. And he was one of the guys to get a first-round KO. Right, 20 seconds. All of his fights have ended in finish, right? In round 1, I believe. Yeah, all round 1 finishes. Ibo Aslan's kind of bad. Rafael Sakara is bad, and he KO'd him. Jeez, there are some cans on this card. Ibo, which is funny because there's a lot of high-level guys too. But Ibo beat Sakara shit. Anton Tukaj, he's alright, I guess. Then he lost to Ian Kuzalaba. Got subbed by him. I mean, that's not that bad of a look. And losing to Billy Alacana, that was a very boring, kind of nothing fight. Iwo, I don't really have any hopes for Ibo Aslan. I think he's at best like an alright fighter. Iwo seems like a decent prospect. And I think he's going to sub him because it's I get it, like, I don't Kutalaba, he's good. He's a good finisher. He can finish guys. And no one's KO'd Ibo yet. It's not like that he has like a bunch of fights. But I mean, Iwo, he's got most of KOs, but he's also got some subs. I'm going sub mostly because he's already been subbed in the UFC, or maybe he'll get that triple entendre that a lot of cans get when they enter the UFC. They'll get submitted, decisioned, and then KO'd, and then cut. So, I'd say real pick, I'd say Iwo KO. But I'm going submission just because I like the XP on verdict thing is fun, and there's more XP potential, and I see it being pretty likely to happen. But I'd say like my actual genuine pick, what I think is going to happen, round 1 knockout for Iwo Baranowski. I think I don't think it'll be super quick. I think it'll be kind of like one of those 4 minute barn burners, and Iwo will take a little bit of damage and maybe get a little cut, but it'll just kind of like bulldoze, and it'll look like it's one-way traffic, and then Iwo will start hitting them, just slinging shots, and then Iwo will come back again, and then Iwo last time goes crashing down, and then maybe he jumps a submission or just KOs him right there. Anyways, Edson Barboza versus Jalen Turner. Do I need to even say anything? Barboza just lost to Drakkar Close. Are we kidding here? Like, Jalen Turner, he better be like an insanely high favorite on the odds. He better be like minus 800. That's probably gonna be more minus 400 or 500. But man, if I see some bullshit like minus 3 or 200, I'll be disappointed in those odds makers, man. But yeah, Jalen Turner, I mean, he's losing to ranked guys. This is ranked comp. Okay, Baja Bumdez isn't ranked anymore, but he's like right outside the rankings. And Baja Bumdez is a win over fucking Manuel Torres. Like, losing to Baja Bumdez, okay. Baja Bumdez just rolls off the tongue well, but he's not a bum. Baja Bumdez, I'll call him Baja Bumdez because it's fun. But, I mean, Baja Bumdez, that guy, he only lost to freaking crafty Rafael Fiziev, right? That guy's had 2 close fights to Justin Gaethje. Jalen Turner, he's 29 years old, and he's good. He's good, and he's 29 years old, and Barboza is not good anymore. Like, you're losing to Drakkar Close. You're not even a good UFC fighter anymore. And Jalen Turner is still kind of close to the rankings. Is still probably a close to the rankings fighter. His confidence is probably like damn near diminished. Dude claimed retirement at 29 years old earlier this year. That retirement only lasted about 8 months. But, I mean, he should be able to just run through Barboza in a round. If not, retire. But he's going to KO him in the first round, so that doesn't matter. Anyways, man, I've been seeing a lot of people picking Bruno Ferreira. I really have, man. And I get it. But there's just there's one very important thing that some people are overlooking. He lost to Abus Magomedov he got submitted by Abus Magomedov. And I know, a lot of people are talking about, Bruno's path to victory is kind of like slingshots with, sling it out with Vettori. And that kind of wear him down because Vettori does an amazing chin, but you can cut him now. You can cut Vettori. He's been getting busted up in his last couple of fights. You can cut him up and you can do damage over because Vettori's just a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, a 1, a 1, maybe a 3, a 1, 2. That's what Vettori does. He throws 1s and he throws 2s. And he might throw a 1-1-2, and occasionally he'll jab and miss, right? And then he'll throw 2 lead hooks, and they'll both miss. And he'll throw those with his chin up in the air. And for some reason, Arnold Allen forgot what a fucking uppercut was when he was doing that. Even though, I mean, if Brendan just threw a 6, so a back uppercut, maybe Vettori could have. I mean, maybe not stunned, but he would have been stumbled in his path at the very least. Bruno's not as dumb of a fighter as Allen. Is he as good of a fighter as Brendan Allen? No. But he's smart. But I think Vettori, even though he only does 1-2s nowadays, he is good at it. The reason he's able to get away with it and not get absolutely, murdered in the rankings is because he is, He's got some of the best, he's got the best 1-2 combination in the division. And I know you might say Strickland, and I mean, maybe, but hey, Strickland does other stuff. He uses hooks. He uses teeps. To the body, to the head, to the legs. Strickland, he does a lot of the same shit, but he does more shit. And I think Vettori, he doesn't grapple as much as he needs to, and I don't think he's gonna grapple offensively. He hasn't in a while. But the skill is still there. I can only fucking assume. And I just don't see Bruno, submitting him. I mean, because Vittori's not really chinnable. I don't necessarily know if he's submittable either. He might be. But I don't think Bruno Ferreira is going to do it. And back to the Magomedov thing. Just because I know that, just because you don't have good submission D, that doesn't mean you don't have good submission offense. But Armin Petrosian, you submit Armin Petrosian. Great, cool. Who cares? And you submitted Jackson fucking McVeigh, he's a can. Stoltzfits, you start Stoltzfits, that's good, that's nice. Phil Hawes, okay. You beat G-Rod, that's great. And you KO'd him. But you did lose to Abus, you got choked out by Abus. Just last year, by the way. And Bruno Ferreira lost to Nazartan Ruzaboyev. And he lost to him right after he beat G-Rod. But G-Rod has gotten a lot. G-Rod has made improvements since 2023. He is a better fighter. Our boy Barack Obama Rod has gotten better. But man, I think this is a very winnable fight for both guys. I think Ferreira can even if he doesn't finish him on the ground, he could frustrate him on the ground and be able to out-damage him. I don't necessarily think Ferreira can finish him, but I do think he can win a decision. This is almost this is a guaranteed decision. Guaranteed decision. I'm going Vettori because I trust him. The guys Ferreira is losing to are guys Vettori would beat. They are. Even the Vettori now. But one thing you also have to realize, Vettori isn't really in his prime anymore. I really think that. I don't think Vettori is in his prime anymore. Even though he's only 32 and Ferreira is older. You can't always look at age. You got to look at performances. You got to look at what these guys are doing. And Vittori's just... he wasn't always just a straight fucking 1-2 merchant. He did shit. He wrestled. He doesn't do that anymore. He's always been a dumb fighter, but he's, an even dumber fighter. And his defense isn't as good as it used to be. He used to have really good defense. He used to be, not only does he have a great chin, but he's also got great defense. But he also has, good defense. And that's how he's, that adds to his survivability. But the defense isn't there as much, and you can really cut him up and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think Ferreira is able... he's not Paulo... It's not I don't think Vettori is at the point where he'd lose to unranked comp. I don't think Ferreira is the guy. He's not nearly... I don't think Ferreira is nearly as good as Allen or fucking Cannonier, right? Or even Delidze. But, the guy... Okay, maybe the Delidze. I don't know. Fucking losing to Delidze does look bad, too. But he did make it kind of close with Allen, and Allen just beat Renier. This isn't the same Marvin that beat Costa back in 2021. This is actually a tough pick. I'm sticking with Vettori, though. Ferreira is a smart pick, but I think I gotta stick with Vettori. I might switch it, who knows. Farazian versus Nazim Sadikov. I'm so hyped for this fight. This is going to be so fun. But war with Nicholas Motta. Kind of one-sided, to be fair. Right. Draw with Vyacheslav Borslev. I love Nazim Sadikov. He's one of my favorite. He is one of my top 5 favorite unranked lightweights. Maybe there's so many unranked lightweights that I fucking love because they're just so fun. He choked out Terrence McKinney. He's obviously not Sadikov's good. Obviously he's good. Great finisher. Great fighter. Really pushes the pace. Really good at fighting in that fucking phone booth. But he went to a draw with Vyacheslav Borislav in 2023. Farasian would never. Right, he would never. And Farasian, he got choked up by Terrence McKinney back in 2022 though. And Ziam, he's young. He's 28. He was young. He was 25 or whatever, and it's not the same for Ziam. And Ziam has just been looking amazing. He fucking starched out Matt Frivola. And he's got wins over Jai Herbert and Claudio Perez and Mike Davis. And, these are, dominant decisions. And with how, Nazim Sadikov likes to go in that phone booth. He likes to he likes to grit down, and he likes to go there. But I think Ziam is going to weather that storm. And I think when it comes to round 3, I think, Ziam's going to start putting a fucking beat down on him. And I don't think Sadikov's going to survive. And I think after this, everyone's going to be like, give Ziam a ranked opponent right now, because that was fucking fantastic what he did in that round. I think that I think it's going to be a very good fight, but it's going to be going Ziam's way, and everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, what heart Sadikov has. He's still going. Oh my gosh, big shot from Ziam. Oh my gosh. Oh, but Sadikov's like, oh. Like an Alex Khalil sort of thing, only... Ziam doesn't pack that much of a punch, but, he's going to be precise. It's going to be Ziam's best performance, and then all of a sudden, boom! Sadikov is dead on the canvas. And everyone's like, we need to see Ziam versus Huffy or something now, or whatever, or versus, I don't know, the winner or loser of this fight. Anyways, Macy Barber versus Karine Silva. Macy Barber, because Karine Silva is losing to Viviana Araujo. Macy Barber is a top 5 fighter. Karine Silva is losing to Viviana Araujo. She's not beating Macy Barber. At least I highly doubt it. Macy Barber's pretty good. I'm confident. Decision. Boring. Don't care. Anyways, back to fun fights. Terrence McKinney versus Christian Leroy. I almost said jeez. CTE is kicking in. Versus Chris Duncan. Sorry. Round 2 submission. This guy is the king. Gilly. Right? But he has to have more gillies. Right? He's got them 3 gillies. He's the king of them gillies. I think he's gonna knock him down and gilly him. I think that's what he's gonna do in round 2, or he might just KO him. But I could see Terrence McKinney winning as well via submission. I could see either of them getting a submission with a gilly probably. Or rear naked for McKinney maybe, but I don't see this as close to the matchup as a lot of people are seeing it. As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, yeah, Chris Duncan's gonna fuck him up, because Chris Duncan just went to war and beat Mateus Rebecki, and he gillied Jordan Vucenic and Blagioki, and he's been looking amazing. Only recent loss, only loss in the UFC. As Contender Series, that'll count. But geez, Vyacheslav Borislav is 9-7, but he's somehow not bad and has good wins. It's so fucking weird. Anyways, I guess he's just active, but How can you be beating somebody but you're also losing to Chase Hooper? I don't know. Weirdly inconsistent fighter. Anyways, yeah, he lost to Manuel Torres. He's only lost in the UFC, and I think Manuel is gonna be ranked tomorrow after he wins. Because I'm picking Manuel Torres. I'm spoiling my pick. Fucking Aaron Yeager out here, right? I'm living across all times. But anyways, yeah, I got Chris Duncan. I think Terrence McChinney is McChinney. And I think Chris Duncan is a dog, and I think he's on a higher level than Terrence McKinney. He is not beating Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan, want to get chinned by his mill bump him. Also, what's next? Of course, speak of the devil, Manuel Torres versus Grant Dawson. I love this matchup, and I'm worried for my boy Torres. Torres, if you do not know, is my 20th favorite fighter in the UFC. Currently, I love Manuel Torres. I am so happy that he has a ranked matchup against Grant Dawson. Does he necessarily deserve the ranked matchup over other guys? Not necessarily. Especially since, he's only on a one-fight win streak and he lost by Mondays. But, he has the wins over, Nicholas Mota by finish and Chris Duncan. And, what he just did to Drew Dober. He made Drew Dober... He caused Drew Dober to get dementia over here, man. And not literally, but in the cage. He was protesting against the finish. It's a dementia joke. It's funny. Grant Dawson, you beat old man Diego Ferreira. Cool. You laid in guard for 3 rounds. And threw some body strikes in guard. I know that's not all that happened. But man, with how fucking Diego Ferreira was able to kind of piece him up on the feet now and then. I mean, you can't be taking those shots when you're in there with Torres. Torres is too fucking dangerous. And I trust in Torres' ability to scramble. I do. I think it is going to be rough. I think it's going to be a rough first round. I think, although I'd say the most common pick for people picking Torres is probably round 1 KO, I think that Torres is going to come out kind of with the heat, and then it's going to be one of those where Dawson immediately starts shooting, and he's shooting, and he's shooting, but he kind of tires himself out a little bit, right? He's trying to lay and pray, but he can't. Torres is being a little scrambly, and then, Dawson wins around, out-grapples him, lands ground and pound. It's kind of a fun round, and everyone's like, I wonder what'll happen. It's interesting. And then round 2, boom! Torres starts throwing nukes. He starts throwing nukes, and he's going to put Dawson out on his back. And then he's going to call out Benoit or some shit. Even though Benoit should be getting a Hooker or a Gamrot. Give me Benoit versus Hooker, dude. Come on, wouldn't that be a banger? Benoit Sitani versus Dan Hooker. Anyways, Manuel Torres round 2 knockout. There's a lot of bangers, man. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. Polish power. I believe in Polish power. A lot of people are picking him decision. Right, he's kind of a decisionator. He is. And Rakic gets finished by everyone. I get it. But remember, styles make fights. And I think he's going to show Guskov levels. I think Nikita Krylov chin is non-existent. And since he's came back from his layoff, he got starched twice. I would suggest Nikita fucking retire because at this point, him versus Alonzo Menifield might he might be losing to Alonzo Menifield at this point. I mean, Billy. Oh yeah, he beat Billy, but he lost. Oh yeah, that's right. Bogdan Guskov was getting out grappled by Billy Elakani, got his back held for almost the entirety of round 1. The fuck was that about? this guy who's like having a boring tit for tat against fucking Ebo Iceland. I know that's striking and grappling. I know it's different, but still, Jesus, like this level of fighter is able to do that to you, and you got rear naked choke by Volkan Oezdemir not very long ago. He stayed active since then, and he's gotten better. Zach Puga, Ryan Span, Galen, these guys finishing these guys, but Jan Blachowicz, I think he's gonna get a ground and pound TKO, man. I think he is. I think he's gonna bust up that leg early. Bogdan Guskov's not gonna see those coming, man. This guy just went to this guy Jan Blachowicz had a very close tit for tat decision against Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg is a guy who just might be a future champ. And if not future champ, he is at least like going to be fighting for a title. Right? He's probably going to be fighting Alex Pereira. Right? And if not, if Alex straight up moves up and doesn't have another defense, he'll be fighting Yuri. And I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Ulberg was able to beat either of those guys. I know it's crazy. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if he beat Pereira. I picked both Pereira and Yuri to beat him. But, I mean, Pereira is like, with those guys that are getting older, I mean, like that, in their late 30s, you can't be surprised when, they lose a fight you don't think they should lose. So it's a fight I don't think Pereira should or would lose. I want to be surprised because age. But anyways, that's besides the point. Well, no, it's not besides the point. The point is, Ulberg's great. And Blachowicz barely lost to him, and he's 40 fucking years old. And Bogdan, I don't think he's on Blachowicz's level. He's not on that top 5 level. He's going to get his legs kicked to smithereens, and I think he's going to try and shoot. I think Guskov's going to try and take it to the ground, and it's not going to be a great idea. I think he's going to be stunned, and he's going to get, sweeped, and I think he's going to get ground and pound TKO'd. And I think people forget Blachowicz is... I think it's going to be, the way he finishes him is going to be similar to the KO that Pereira had over Ank in terms of, shoots and then gets reversed and ground and pound TKO'd. So, and he's going to say something like that. And I think, Jan Blachowicz might just... these old heads, they'll call for a title shot as soon as they get one win, even when they're on losing streaks. So he might do something like that. Or maybe not even call for a title shot, but I think he'll have, a fun call-out. Blachowicz is a cool guy. Everyone likes Blachowicz, man. Dude, he's got fucking Geralt of Rivia's sword, and he was using it to, cut vegetables. Come on, how can you not like this guy? And he was shooting guns. He doesn't like shooting guns. Henry Cejudo versus Payne Talbot. Payne Talbot shouldn't be fighting anyone ranked. You're getting out-grappled by Raoni Barcelos like that. I mean, there's no way Henry Cejudo can't do that to you. And not, if not more dominantly. I know Raoni is kind of underrated and all that, but I mean, didn't he just rob? No, not rob, but he had a close decision with Ricky Simone. And that's not a great look for Raoni. Point is, I don't think Raoni is on Cejudo's level, even though I think Cejudo is washed. I don't think he's that washed. He's not washed enough to lose to Payne Talbot, I don't think. I don't think Payton's that good. Beating Felipe Lima doesn't show me that you're going to beat Cejudo. Felipe Lima, who was being very dumb in that fight. I thought Felipe Lima was a smarter fighter than that. I'm not taking credit away from Talbot. No, Talbot did amazing in that fight. But the thing is, Felipe was doing things that were retarded. He was making dumb mistakes. Cejudo's not making those fucking mistakes. Cejudo's not Felipe Lima. He's not Rene Barcelos. You're gonna get smudged to a decision. I mean, if Cejudo loses, then that's insane. But hey, it's better for the division if Cejudo loses. And I'm not rooting for either of these guys, to be honest. I don't really like either of these guys. But if anyone, I guess you could. I don't want to say Talbot. I could say Talbot because he's new gen, and it'd be a nice way to switch up to the division. But at the same time, I don't like GOATs getting their legacy kind of spoiled. I don't think, in my opinion, you don't spoil your legacy just because of something that happens when you're washed. But I don't like narrative shifting in the casuals' eyes because it's just irritating. I don't like negative narrative shifts on GOATs, whether I like them or not. So I'm not rooting for either of them. Because even though I said that, you might think, oh, then you're rooting for Cejudo. No, I think Cejudo's a cunt. Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Moreno. I'm picking Tatsuro Taira. I was picking Brandon Moreno by round to knockout. But I think, I think Moreno's been very hesitant of late. And that's not going to do well against Taira. He's going to be scrambling around and stuff. And, man, this guy's back ticks are so good. He's so good when he's on your back. And he's so good at taking your back. Even against a guy like Royval, who was able to kind of easily out-grapple Moreno. Moreno's getting out-grappled by Pantoja. He's getting out-grappled by Royval. And I think, Taira's better grappler than Royval. He out-grappled Royval. He lost to Royval, but that was because of striking. And, I know the grappling was kind of close, but still. Those back takes are crazy good, man. And Moreno is not, he's not the same guy that was, liver kicking fucking Guy Cara. Right? Or, or like going for, just fucking straight going for it against Figgy and, Pantoja, even though I lost. After, his title reign ended, or after his streak of unlimited title shots and whatnot ended, he stopped fighting like that. And even when he was fighting Albazi, styling Albazi, he was just avoiding trying to get the finish, in my opinion. Maybe not avoiding, but he wasn't taking chances. And especially against Steve Erceg, he wasn't taking chances, and he was cruising. He was coasting. You can't cruise and you can't coast with Taira. You're not a cruiser, you're not a coaster fighter, Moreno. That's not what you... that's just kind of what he's been switching his style towards now, but, when you're facing a guy like Taira, you can't use that cruiser coaster style. You're not Royval. That's not how you're gonna... That's not your path to victory against a lot of guys. Because that's just not how Moreno should be fighting, I don't think. And that's not how you should be fighting. About a guy like Brandon Moreno should be fighting fighting against Taira. A guy like Taira. You need to be going for it. You need to be, throwing the hard, heavy shots. You need to try and chin him because Taira is, that chin's everywhere, man. That chin's just, just open. And that nose is fucking open, too. Crack that motherfucker with a jab, break his nose, over and over the top. But I don't think he's going to do it. I think Taira's going to be able to out-grapple him and, get back takes and stuff and out-grapple him decision. And I think it'll be kind of boring. It'll be exciting early. Maybe it's a little fun on the feet. Moreno maybe busts him up a little bit, just a little, bruises him up a little bit, but then, just gets out-grappled for rounds 2 and 3. And now on to the co-main event. I love Joshua Van, man. I really do, but he's 24. He's 24, and Pantoja's on the brink of GOAT status in his division. He wins this fight. He's, depending how he wins this fight, you can argue he's flyweight GOAT. Because of resume, Take a look at his resume. the names he's got, the level of comp is higher than Demetrius Johnson had. You know, Kai Kara France. You know, if you include Tough, he's got Kai Kara France twice. If you include Ultimate Fighter, which, you know, exhibition, whatever. I mean, it's the same. I mean, back then it was the same 3 5-minute rounds. You know, same way that a UFC fight would be. And that pro MMA fights are. So, you can't count that. 2 wins over Kai Kara France, 3 wins over Brandon Moreno, Kai Sakura, Steve Erceg, 2 Brandon Royval wins, Alex Perez, Manel Kape. I mean, come on, man. Wilson Reyes, man. Wilson Reyes. Eric Shelton, man. Eric Shelton, people forget. That guy beat Joseph Morales. But yeah, you know, Pantoja's got a really, really good, like, stacked up flyweight resume. You know, plus Royval, a guy who I think, although I'm saying Royval, I mean, not Royval, Van. And although I think he's going to beat Van, because he's more experienced, he's on the brink of GOAT status, he's 35, he's experienced and all this, and, you know, Van, you know, he's inexperienced and he's young. I'm not going to say young and dumb, because for a 24-year-old fighter, he has high fight IQ, and he has, you know, he's got great, like, dude, look at his sprawls. Look at his grappling defense. Look at the Cody Durden fight. Look at the I'm blanking, Ray Soria fight. Look at the Edgar Shiras fight. All right, do you guys remember those fights? Watch them back. Look at that man's sprawling game. It was amazing. It's fantastic. Some of the best sprawls at flyweight at the moment, right? He's got some great grappling defense. And I think it'll play a factor. And I think it'll take Pantoja a while, but I do think Pantoja will get the sub. Whether it's dominant, whether it's close, I think he will find it. Because, you know, I do think, you know, Pantoja is the best grappler at flyweights ever had. You know, I mean, we see what he's able to do against guys like Kai Kara France. You know, the way he just fucking destroyed Kai Kara France everywhere. And, you know, the constant pressure of Pantoja is crazy. This guy is like flyweight Dricus du Plessis. It's like a grappling flyweight Dricus. That's what he is. And, man, Van's small for this division. He's small for this division. And this guy is 24. There's no way this guy's in his prime yet. What is going to be like? I mean, it's going to be insane when he's in his prime. If he is able to beat Pantoja, not 24 years old, he's able to beat the guys on the brink of flyweight GOAT status, that is some generational shit right there. You know, I commend him. That'd be amazing. If Joshua Van's one of my favorite fighters, I would love to see that. But it's not going to happen. Realistically, it won't. It just won't. I know. I mean, Pantoja already beat the quote-unquote 35 curse or whatever. Both him and fucking Volka beat it. This isn't the good old days where every good flyweight was 25 years old. No, they're skilled now. They don't need to be the fastest and the most agile, because it's skill. It's the division of skill. It's not the division of speed and agility anymore. That's kind of how it was back in the day. It was the speed and agility of the young 25-year-olds, right? You had DJ, who was 25, you know, fighting Cejudo, who was like 24 or whatever. Or he was like 26 and Cejudo was 25 or whatever. And they were fighting for the title. You know, it doesn't work like that anymore. You know, it's the older guys at flyweight, the guys that are the same age at flyweight as the guys that are in their primes in the like middle, the other weight classes, and like the middleweight classes, like, you know, feather, light, and welter, even middle, maybe not middle, but more welter weight and lightweight and stuff. You know, they can get away with being, you know, there are fighters at flyweight now that are in their primes when they're in their early 30s now. And, you know, in Pantoja's case, mid-30s. You know, just because the way the game has evolved. You know, and you don't need to be, like, super, you know, the division doesn't rely on speed and agility. That being said, Van obviously has a speed advantage and will probably have slight striking advantage in the way he strikes, the knees and shit, and all this, and the way he defends takedowns. He has a very good style to beat Pantoja. He really does. But he's also small. He's small for flyweight. He's like Kyoji Horiguchi, like that frog. My favorite frogman, Kyoji Horiguchi. This guy's small for flyweight. He looks like a men's strawweight. Pantoja, as I said, flyweight Dricus, he's gonna bully Van on the ground, and he's gonna be able to sub him. He's gonna be a when he needs to, like, you know, Van might be, you know, styling a little bit, not styling on Pantoja, but, like, you know, he might be styling, looking nice, looking fresh, you know, sprawl here, sprawl there, but eventually, you know, Pantoja's gonna be able to toss him around, because Van's a hobbit. You're gonna toss around the hobbit, right? I mean, I shouldn't say hobbit. Height-wise, it's pretty much the same. 5'5" and 5. They're both the same height. Or am I saying hobbit? No. But even though they are the same height, they are different sizes. You know, Pantoja's actually a good size flyweight. Man, he's got some muscle on him. I mean, Van does too, but, like, he's still small compared to most flyweights. And I think even on the feet, his smallness will play a factor, because not is he just small, the chin. You know, we've seen his chin get exposed against a guy like Charles Johnson, he's, you know, one of the better finishers in the division, in my opinion. One of the best KO artists that we've got in the division right now, Charles Johnson. But Pantoja cracks hard. He cracks hard, and he's got a wide arsenal in all areas of mixed martial arts. We saw what he did against Kai Kara-France. Every aspect of mixed martial arts was on display. He's going to be able to mix it up. Pantoja's one of those guys, he mixes up all the martial arts in every single fucking fight. And I don't think Van won't be able to keep up. In a 5-rounder, man. He's not going to be able to keep up the pace with Pantoja. He's not. He's going to get submitted in those later rounds. Round 4, round 5, submission for Alejandro Pantoja. The main event. I know. I'm a crazy psychopath. I'm picking Peter Yan. How dumb am I? Let me explain. Of course, I was picking Merab decision. I could say that. I could say, oh, Merab beat him dominantly. He's the go-to bantamweight. He's going to beat him again. It's not like Peter's gotten better. Now I'm going to start listing the reasons why I switched my pick. All right. So the press conference does play a factor to me when it comes to fights that I believe are close matchups. But first, I'm going to talk about why this is a close matchup, and then I'll go into how the press conference kind of... my mind was already kind of changed to picking Peter, but then the press conference solidified it. So, okay, now I'm actually kind of confident. Cause I can't say confident. I'm not confident in this pick. But I wouldn't be confident in this pick either. I'm not confident in picking either. But I trust my boy, Peter Nomir. And this guy's so fucking skilled. Probably the most skilled fighter I've ever seen. Any weight class ever. And I think Merab... Man, the first fight, Peter was injured. He did have, a really bad injury with his arm, and he was still able to defend the majority of Merab's takedowns. This guy defended like 30 takedowns, right? Because Merab shot like 40 takedowns or some crazy shit like that, and most of them got defended. And man, look, you see the losses here. This is a DQ. This don't count. He was beating the shit out of Aljo before the illegal knee. And this was razor close. The second fight with Aljo was razor close. Could have gone either way. Injured against Dvalishvili and robbed against Sean O'Malley. Literally just one of the unluckiest fighters. And I am going to say I don't think that the illegal knee was intentional, because here's the thing. It looked like Aljo was coming up to his feet. It did. And instinctually. You know, there's some things, you know, when fighting, that you got to realize, it's just instinctual habits. And, you know, when you have a rule like, you know, no knees to the ground opponent, when you see an opportunity for a knee to a guy, and then you see them come up to their feet, you're going to shoot that knee immediately and take the chance. And he thought Aljo was coming up, and he shot that knee, but he was immediately in his head like, oh, fuck. He didn't come up. Damn. But anyways, look at the Song Yadong fight. Relatively dominant. Figgy fight. Dominant. McGee. Schooled him. Fuck. Anyways, he schooled his last 3 opponents by decision. He schooled him. But he has finishing potential. Look what he did against Jose Aldo. Look what he did against Jose Aldo. And now this is part of why I think this is a close matchup. And then going to the press conference, right? You have Peter Yan, who kind of humiliated Dvalishvili. I said that in my last video. And Merab, this guy looked drained in the presser. He looked drained. You can take that into account sometimes about guys, you know, when guys are drained at, like, you know, weigh-ins and stuff. You know, not always, and it's not always a guaranteed thing, but that little thing on top of the other things, it adds to it, you know. And him getting humiliated and not seeming necessarily himself and not having the cheesy grins and, you know, seeming genuinely irritated and you know, that adds into it. These little things add up, and they add into reasons for me picking Yan. And now this guy, Merab Dvalishvili, he's been very comfortable striking. He has. He has been very comfortable on his feet against guys who don't have as good defensive grappling as Peter Yan, right? And you know he almost TKO'd Corey. Fair. You know who you know who dominated Corey for 5 rounds? Peter. You know who. And here's another thing. Merab's confident in his striking, and I think he's going to be just as confident against Peter Yan as he was against Corey. He was more confident against Corey than he was against O'Malley in the second fight, than he was against O'Malley in their rematch, and he was more confident striking with him than he was even striking with Umar, in terms of, like, he was willing to throw, you know, harder shots earlier. I don't think you're going to be able to do that with Peter. And I think he's going to try and fight. He's going to try and fuck with Peter too much in there, you know. The emotes and shit, that's not going to work. You're not going to break Peter Yan's will. You're not and I think he's gonna try and get in the phone booth with him, and it's not gonna go well. Peter Yan is very good at fighting in the phone booth. Look at Jose Aldo, and look at how he murdered Jose Aldo. That was on the ground when he murdered him, but, you know, he was beating the shit out of him in the phone booth. You know, you can't fight with Peter in the phone booth, and you can't, you know, Dvalishvili, you can't work your your sloppy boppy combos that are getting better. But, you know, you can't play with Peter Yan like that. You need to grapple and you need to spam your takedowns, but I don't think he will. He'll get too comfortable and Yan will bait him into a dogfight. He's not beating Yan in a dogfight. And, you know, Yan doesn't have much power, but the damage is going to build up over time. And, you know, Merab's going to get cocky, and, you know, maybe he's going to be kind of winning the fight. It'll be 2-2 going around 5. And, you know, Merab's maybe winning the 5th round, and he starts scrapping, and, he throws another combo. Peter Yan, you know, he defends that one. He slips that one. It was a big shot from Peter Yan. That one landed. Boom, 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 boom. What a combination. Oh my gosh, it's on top Merab. This may be over, folks. And new UFC Bantamweight Champion Peter Yan by round 5 TKO. And those are my predictions for UFC 323. I will be recording my entire reaction to the fights. Since I don't have 50 subscribers yet, I can't live stream. So I'll just record me watching the fights. And I'll just, like, block out my screen of the fights. And the audio, I generally don't listen to the audio anyways because the commentators are crap. Usually I listen to Guru, though, so damn. Because I'll be recording. I won't be able to listen to Guru. I need a headset. I need to get a headset so I can still listen to Guru. Because I want to be like doing my own commentary, but I also like having Guru's input, and then also my buddy Seth's input. But you guys will be seeing him too, because I'm gonna be doing some UFC 5 videos with him. Anyways, yeah, that's it for me. See you in a few minutes after I make another video.